Welcome to the Breadwinners, the podcast about the never-ending hustle and its impact on all aspects of our lives. We're interested in what it takes to keep everything going. This podcast is about women, working, money, and family, and in every episode, we consider the research and share our takes on what we're learning every day about breadwinning. I'm Jennifer Owens. I write about working, wellness, and women, and founded the Working Mother Research Institute. And most days, I'm joined by my co-host, Raquel Ellison. But on this episode of The Breadwinners, I'm joined by Susan McPherson, founder and CEO of McPherson Strategies, a communication firm focused on creating powerful social impact with some of the world's biggest brands. Susan is known for her extensive, vital, and vibrant network of contacts, of which I am very proud to be included. That's why I'm particularly excited to talk to her today about her new book, The Lost Art of Connecting, the Gather, Ask, Do method for building meaningful relationships. All of which is to say, welcome, Susan.
I could not be more excited to be here, Jennifer. Thank you.
Well, so at the Breadwinners, we start with a stat or some research. And I thought this time I would like to tell a story because you and I belong to a vibrant network of women called The List. And we pride ourselves on helping each other out and lifting each other up. And years ago, I was brand new to The List and someone had an odd request and they said it was odd and they were looking for a llama. And I think it was a llama in Vermont of all places. And within about 15 minutes, you popped up and said, I know a guy and I'll help connect you to that guy. And I was like, who is this Susan McPherson? She's awesome.
All right.
So my first question is, do you still have a llama guy?
I not only have a llama guy, I've got a lamb and a cow guy. I should preface it with they are llama and cow women. Because
there you go.
One of our clients is Heifer International.
Okay.
75-year-old amazing nonprofit that is helping with regenerative farming around the world. But the Heifer Ranch in Arkansas is a magical place. And especially this month where there are babies being born, baby calves, baby lambs, baby llamas. So I have all your listeners.
So we'll just spend the rest of our time together just talking about livestock connections and all the livestock we'd like to see. So I hope you don't mind.
You know what? After all this connection talk, I'd be... Wait, NPR had the greatest piece this weekend about hugging cows. It's actually a thing, and it's become more of a thing during the pandemic. There are places you can go to hug cows. So help me God.
I once heard cows like kind of growling in a group once when we got too close. Are they conducive to being wanted?
Evidently.
Okay.
Want to be hugged. I'm not Google it.
Well, you are known. I mean, for all the amazing good work you do, all the amazing skills you have, seriously, you do a lot. But one of your core things that we know about you is your network, and you're making connections, facilitating connections, benefiting from connections. Like, tell me about where all this connecting started for you.
Well, I have to tell you, it started a very long time ago in a small little town in upstate New York, where I was born and I spent the first 18 years of my life. I had parents that were deep, meaningful connectors. And every morning at the breakfast table, and I am not making this up, I would have to vie for space for my bowl of cereal because there would be the 5 local newspapers and yesterday's New York Times. Back then, the New York Times would come the next day. And my dad would have his razor blade and my mom would have a scissors, and they would be clipping for articles that made them think of relatives, friends, colleagues, people that they had met. And then they would dash off the missives on the manual typewriter and stick in a postal mail envelope, and off it would go. And I thought that's what everybody did. So it definitely was, bred in me, so to speak. And then also my mother worked for public television, and she did public relations for PBS. And of course, it wasn't until I was about 18 that I even actually understood what she did. But when she would come back from New York City, she would come, carrying Molinari sausages and other New York City edibles that in upstate, were considered exotic treats. And she would bring those to people who worked in the newsrooms as a thinking of you kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this was like, like some people had peanut butter and jelly. I had a mom who brought Molinari sausages back from, and I'm not Italian, by the way.
Yeah.
Although, I could fake it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. We all try. It's the best.
I think that's where it comes from. But I do have a funny side note about coming up with the terminology, and maybe it would be beneficial for some of your listeners. Back in 2008, I went with about 7 or 8 women who were friends, and we went away to a retreat in the Catskills with the goal that weekend we would come up with our quasi elevator speech, what were we going to say, who we were, and that weekend. And the goal was we would not leave until we actually crystallized that. And I look back, I'm like, why did we even leave? It was such a nice house. But it was that weekend that I coined the term, I am a serial connector. But Jennifer, when I said it, which was basically to be able to get to the point where I could go home, I felt so ridiculous. I almost peed in my pants. I felt so like it sounded
claiming it, right? Yeah.
And fast forward maybe 5 years later, and I would get on a stage to speak, and I'd hear, "We welcome Susan McPherson. She's a serial connector." Da 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 da. And I still wanted to pee in my pants because. But honestly, there's something to be said about, self-fulfilling prophecies and actually stating what you believe to be your secret sauce, to be your personal superpower and owning it. I've learned a lot from doing that.
And I think of you that way too. So it's gotten into my head that's a great way to describe what you do. And then to see it in action, it solidifies it. Yes, that's true. So that is a superpower. I think you have many superpowers, but that is a superpower.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm on LinkedIn. There's literally 66 million people on LinkedIn. There's 30 million countries and companies and all that sort of stuff. And I have like 3,000 connections. So I'm connected, right? I'm done. I'm out. There's more to it than that is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And I almost would suggest or recommend you take the numbers out of it.
Really? Okay.
I will be brutally honest. The impetus for the book had nothing to do with how do we connect.
Yeah. How do I get my big numbers up? Right. Yeah.
Or how do I stay connected during a pandemic? I mean, the original impetus was the fact that we had become slaves to our technology. We had become overladen with caring about clicks and likes and followers as opposed to the genuine human connections that actually make a difference in our lives, that step up, that show up, that follow through, like everything you've, for instance, seen in The List or the, Riveter or Luminary or these other communities. So I also felt that we beholden also to our, our devices.
Right.
But of course, then the pandemic happened, and guess what? All we had was our devices.
That's true. Yeah.
And our likes and our clicks and our, social media to stay connected. But what I realized while writing this is these are all so necessary to a certain extent, but they are not the means to the end. And as we are now on the cusp, where we have a glimmer, where we are seeing the door opening, we have an opportunity to go forth and actually reconnect on a deeper, more personal level, more empathetic level, more compassionate level, and stop worrying about the clicks and likes. Instead, really ask each other how we are doing. How can we be helpful to one another?
Yes. Now, the reason I have like 3,000 is because I've had roles where many people have wanted to pitch story ideas. And that's great. And that's wonderful. But I will always say to people that I authentically link with, that if they see someone that I'm connected with, I'll tell you whether I'm truly connected to them, that I have a relationship with them, because I never mind writing a note or trying to connect someone. But it is funny that I know going in, I know it's going to say that I know someone. I don't really know them. I have never done I've gathered them, but I don't even think I've gathered them in the way that you're talking about gathering them. So what is the gather part?
It's never too late. Okay.
Yeah.
again, I don't want to diss on LinkedIn or any of these.
Oh, no. But it's where I've collected them,
Of course. But I would go so far as to say it might be worthwhile for you to go through some of them and reach out and just say, you know what? This year's been tough. How are you holding up? Is there anything you need? And don't be afraid that they're going to come back and ask you to do something that would be so out of the realm, which quite frankly could happen. But guess what, Jennifer? You are a deeply connected person. And I bet you would know someone who could help them if you couldn't. And just by that sheer exercise of doing that, you are deepening your connection. And those 3,000 no longer are just a number on a computer screen.
Interesting. Yes. So how much are you doing? So gather, ask, and do. Yeah. What are the 3 pillars?
Yes. And I want to also state that gather, ask, do, it's not like you're going to do it once and then.
Right. Yeah, I'm out.
I think it's a methodology for those of us professionally and personally, and also something to do at different inflection points during your life, whether, you're moving to a new city, you're going through a pandemic, you have a new job, you have a goal of wanting to maybe serve on a nonprofit board. It's when you actually do the reflection to figure out what is your secret sauce, what do you have to offer, no matter your age, whether you're 21 or 61, what is the community you want to be surrounding you with for this particular time, for the next, up teen months or even years. And once you have that, it sets you up for what I term the ask. And the ask is not what I think a lot of people would think. You asking for help or you ask for introductions or the connection to that potential job opportunity. The ask is learning how to ask the important and meaningful questions so that you can learn more about other people. You can learn how then you can be helpful. And guess what? How you can do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So instead of asking the types of questions that are going to elicit responses like, what did you have for lunch today? Or how's the weather in Dubuque? You actually ask people questions like, gosh, at the end of this pandemic, if you could go anywhere on this planet, where would you go and why? Or, this has been a tough time. How are you doing? How is your family doing? Is there anything that, in my world, I might be able to be helpful to you?
Right. But now, how about if you kind of want, you do have an ask for them? Does that figure in at some point too?
This is not all about serve. And
yeah.
No. What happens is if you truly live this, there is something to be said about what goes around comes around. 98% of the business in my 8-year-old company has been inbound.
Wow.
That is a little bit of a unique situation. I can't be sure. I haven't done a massive landscape analysis, but I realized, over the years, being helpful has truly been a benefit to the business, to everyone else I know too. Right.
Yeah.
And part of, one of the interesting research, there was a lot of research that went into the book. And one thing I found extraordinarily interesting was the fact that people you've never even met, but people you've met who know those people actually affect your life. So that means in my 20s, I met people who know people that are now probably clients of mine. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
It means as we move through our lives, personally and professionally, we should be curious, open to meeting people that, quote unquote, certainly may not look like us, may not act like us, may not be in our profession, because you never know what you don't know. And that is what is the kind of impetus of part of the entire book and the ethos of leading with how can I help? Because again, every door you open is a door to another door.
Oh, for sure. I'm always struck in my mind, and I think about this a lot. We've done an episode on this, on when your network looks a lot like you, and like being impactful and being thoughtful about how to grow your connections for people who don't look like you or didn't grow up on the west side of Cleveland like I did, or, all those things where you could kind of unhook yourself from the easy connections because you have that affinity, and to find connections that are new.
Yep. Well, first of all, I always suggest start with your own community. Okay. And yes, even if they are very much synergistic with how you look, it is a very important question for you to ask. I want to diversify my network.
Yeah.
Anyone you could introduce me to. There is absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. And it's actually a good learning. It might spawn other people to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have often found that joining and volunteering, providing service through community foundations, through nonprofits, getting involved in political campaigns, that kind of thing, service to others, you actually meet people that you would not meet traditionally through your professional walks of life. So I would start there. I do think, this is something we all need to be better at doing, and myself included. But I think that over the years, when I look at how I have better diversified my community, and I tend to call it community rather than network,
right,
is
I like that.
Literally opening up and asking people I know. And then, of course, through I don't want to call it social work, but, serving on the board of the Lower East Side Girls Club. So many people who have very differing experiences from me, but I got to know the girls who have grown up on the Lower East Side. That would never have happened. And granted, I was privileged enough, quote unquote, to serve on the board, but I didn't volunteer work before that, right? I mean, so I think it's important to put in the work.
What do you think keeps it? What's like the stumbling block that keeps us from really connecting? Is it time? Is it fear? I don't know. And like that.
First of all, that's so dependent on individuals.
Yeah.
I think for many people, and there's a lot of attention paid to this in the book about, how do introverts connect. And I actually spent a good deal of time interviewing Maura Aarons-Melee, the author of Hiding in the Bathroom and the host of the brilliant podcast, The Anxious Achiever. And she is she is a card-carrying introvert, as is Susan Cain. And so I take wisdom from them. And one of the things we talked about is, this is not, if you don't look at it like networking, it's a lot easier. And, you can set realistic expectations when you walk into a room, whether it's a virtual or a conference room, convention hall, you name it, and set numbers. Like, I'm going to meet 3 people.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn 3 new things, and I'm going to share 3 things. That for an introvert is somewhat comfortable. The other thing too is, because this is not about networking, it's not about numbers. And to me, if you have 1 or 2 meaningful talks at a particular gathering, again, online or in person, that is actually going to do you more service than walking around and grabbing business cards.
Right. Oh my goodness. And you've met that person at events, haven't you? The one where you're like, you're just like vacuuming up people's business cards. Like, hey, I don't really want to talk to you after this. I have no idea. You just give off a weird vibe. Whereas the person that you have you end up talking about shoe heel heights for like 20 minutes and you really connect on something kind of silly. I find those can have, the weirdest connection is an authentic connection. And you could talk about how we all wore espadrilles in the 80s or something like that.
Well, and here's the other thing. And again, I talk about this in the book. Back in the day when I worked for USA Today in the 80s and I was a researcher, we used the yellow pages and microfiche to be able to read about people we were talking to, and maybe the Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay. There is no excuse when you go to have a meeting or you're going to an event. You can actually learn about the people before you go.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
You've talked about LinkedIn, but you can also see what they've said on Twitter today. You can probably even see, if they have a public Instagram handle, their children.
Yeah. And tell them their children are beautiful, because everyone wants to hear that. That's a pro tip from my side. Well, and I feel that the whole world of connecting, it took on such a weird spin at the beginning of the pandemic. We were all like nervous and scared, and we still are, and anxious and the like. But there were a lot of these online platforms that popped up, or maybe they had existed, but they went out, like Lunch Club. Was it like Hi Hello, or all these things where it's like, speed connecting. And I'll tell you, I did those because I was afraid, like, I've lost the ability to go to these events, and oh my God. I really did talk like that. And I think out of that, I met some lovely people, very lovely people.
Good.
But I made one solid connection that we are still connecting, which, not a failure, but I don't know. I don't know. Why? Can I ask pro tip how you feel about like speed networking? It's kind of not community building. I don't know.
Yeah, speed networking sounds more like a dating kind of.
Yeah.
I honestly, that again falls in that networking rather than full of meeting and deepening relationships. Again, though, this is a pandemic. Okay. So
Right.
hats off to you for trying. And, the fact that it didn't work doesn't mean that all of those programs are failures. It may just not
Oh, no.
for you,
Yeah.
But somehow this notion of rushing through, just that negates everything I talk about in the book.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Because at the time, the endorphins of meeting someone new, I enjoy it. I love hearing people's stories. And I mean, I went into a field where I want to ask people their stories. So I got something out of it. I hope I gave something and we would make offer, but they didn't stick. And I just think that's, for me at least, that kind of deeper connection that comes with time and comes with care and feeding, that's a missing element there. When you're trying to almost like hoard new connections. And it's like, no, that's like a scarcity model and not one of abundance where you just want to give and serve. I'm thinking you hear my thoughts. This is my brain moving right now. So thank you for that. So, well, I think this is wonderful. And I think true connection is what it's all about. And so I thank you for bringing it together and kind of helping us make connections, because this pandemic's going to be over and we're going to be out and about in the wild again, and we're going to want to make new connections. And so thank you.
But it's also an opportunity to go back and deepen what we already have.
Yes.
And I almost wouldn't wait until the doors open. Yeah. This is a really great opportunity to follow up with people that you've been meaning to. And it doesn't have to be a big lift. I mean, people sometimes say to me, how do you have time to do all this? And I often say that it is the people I'm connected to that actually make me more efficient, because I knew that llama guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm being facetious when I say that,
but you help facilitate. It's a silly story, but it's a very real story, and you helped someone achieve something they needed to achieve. And then look, that connection, that bond is a little stronger because you were able to.
And people remember, and then you become known as someone who is a doer, not someone who's, giving up caring for themselves. I am
right.
suggesting that, because I know at times, and certainly women fall into that category, right? This is, puts the oxygen mask on first. I am fervently a supporter of that. But if you make it a point to offer up support to others, it will come back around. And again, if you do it authentically, and I know that word is overused, but if you actually do it, and if for whatever reason you offer up to help, and then, life gets in the way, it's okay to then state, life got in the way, I can't,
yep.
And make note. And then when the time comes that you can do something, do it.
I love it. Well, thank you for connecting with us today on the Breadwinners. See what I did there?
It was my honor.
Our guest today was Susan McPherson. We will have links in the episode description to her new book, Lost Art of Connecting. Email us anytime at thebreadwinnerspod@gmail.com or visit us at thebreadwinnerspodcast.com. Please remember to subscribe and to rate and review us. It really helps us grow. And until next week, keep hustling.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.